What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Ranger Central, and I'm going to make this video short, quick, simple because of the fact that the game is going to be on very soon, but some news dropped as Larry Brooks put out an article about how the New York Rangers are connected to Alex Wennberg, and I want to give my thoughts and opinions, and I know people ask, why do you do this type of stuff? Why are you just relaying information? Because I like to keep you guys updated on the info, and because I like to share my thoughts and opinions on what I'm thinking in terms of this type of news, since people will probably ask me in the chat tonight in my live stream, which, by the way, keep your notifications on so you know when I go live tonight after the game, where we'll do the post-game recap after the game against the Dallas Stars. Leave a like on this video if you enjoy, and subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans. But this kind of lines up with pretty much what we've been seeing. We heard reports and rumors that the Rangers are in fact scouting Seattle games, and that's been one of the teams they've been looking at lately. Well, this is lining up with that in the fact that the Rangers are interested in Wennberg. And the thing that I will say off the rip in terms of my thoughts, I don't love the idea. I don't hate the idea. And I know people are very, very against this idea of going out and getting a guy like Alexander Wennberg because of the fact that a guy like Brodzinski has emerged lately and has been good. But to me, Wennberg's not pushing Brodzinski out. And the thing that I will say is, in the article here that Larry Brooks wrote, since this is his article, he was mentioning that, Berard or Sikora might be on the table. And if he means in terms of this deal, because I'm just skimming through the article a bit, but if he means in this deal and they give up like a first too, then definitely not. But if the Rangers could make this sort of deal by giving up like a second and a lower end prospect or something like that with retained salary, which might sound unrealistic, but you never know with the trade market. As long as Wennberg is a cheaper option, I don't see the harm in going out and getting the guy. He has 22 points on the year, and Seattle's been a bad team. He's still a +1, not that I'm a plus-minus guy in terms of that. And the chart models, some of them say the Andy and Rono model tells you that he's just a middle-of-the-pack player, that, he's decent defensively, decent offensively. And then you look at the evolving hockey model, though, and it tells you that he's a very good offensive player, and then defensively he's been bad this year, quite frankly. So it does kind of even out in terms of that sort of thing, but I just don't see the harm in going out and getting a guy like Wennberg if it's for cheap, though. I want to make that very clear. I'm not advocating for the Rangers to go out and giving up a first-round pick for the guy and giving up a Berard and or Sikora. I am advocating for this move if it is in fact where the Rangers give up a very, very cheap price because of the fact that the center market is so expensive this year. For what reason, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's because of the fact that there's a lack of centers, but I kind of answered my own question there. But I wouldn't be totally for it. I wouldn't be totally against it, because you have a guy now in the bottom six that you could rotate, and I'd imagine he would probably start off on the fourth line if that third line is going to continue to play the way that they have. So you'd probably look at him taking Rempe's spot on the wing or playing center, and then Barclay Goodrow moves to the wing, and then all of a sudden you get a top line winger, and that's probably what the lineup will look like. I'm not totally against it. Again, if this is pushing Brodzinski out, who has been good this year, or you're giving up premium assets to get a guy like Wennberg, then I'm very against it. But to add a guy that could potentially be a cheaper option, I just don't see the harm in this, especially because he's going to be a bottom six guy, and the Rangers desperately could use help in their bottom six. And his point production probably will go down because he's averaging a lot of ice time, so you could expect it, but it does show. I mean, his metrics show that he's been solid offensively this year, and maybe it will help the Rangers get a couple more goals chipped in from their bottom six, and they definitely need that. They definitely need some help there, and it looks like his entries are pretty solid as well. I do want to look at the all three zones model for Wennberg too, if they have that, since that's another analytic site that I've been looking into lately. And I mean, yeah, like the thing that you do like is that he gets a lot of rebounds. His rebounds per 60 is very, very solid. You'll get his zone entries, which is very good. He is solid. I mean, it says that he's responsible in the D zone. The thing that you don't like is his forechecking looking a little negative, but everything else is like pretty solid with a guy like Wennberg. I don't know. To me, I don't love the idea. I don't hate the idea. That's just me, but it really depends what they're giving up. That's really all I got for you on that. And in terms of the role that he might play, I mean, you could probably expect him to play on power play too. He has played on the power play a bit for Seattle this year. He has he has a lot of time on ice there, and I do want to see, does he play shorthanded? Yeah, he plays shorthanded too. So it's going to be a guy that's going to go out there as well and help out defensively shorthanded. And, you know, his card is actually positive in terms of his defense. If he's not shorthanded and killing penalties, you could actually expect his defense to go up, because looking at the evolving hockey model, the reason his defense is an anchor is because he's bad shorthanded. If they simply don't have him go out there and kill penalties, his defense will go up. He's going to chip in goals. I just don't know how I could complain, depending, like I said, it really, really depends on the asking price. Really depends on that. So I want to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I know people have been in my chat a lot advocating for Wennberg, and there's people against him. Curious to check the pulse of my tweet, because all I tweeted is the eye emojis and said, oh, and people are very, very against the idea. But to me, I just don't think, like, I don't think there's really a big harm in this. Like, the only thing in terms of negative as well for him is his Corsi. His Corsi's not so great this year, but if he comes to a team like the Rangers, you could expect his Corsi to go up because of the fact that he's playing on a team that possesses the puck a lot more, and especially if he's playing on that third line, which, again, I'm not advocating to break up that third line with the way they're playing, but say they do need a shakeup, that Corsi should go up if he was to play on the third line. I don't see the harm in, you know, breaking up the third line entirely, especially if things do go south, because, yeah, they've been good right now, but putting Wennberg on that third line, centering there, and then Brodzinski on the fourth line, I think that adds some balance, too, to the lineup. I just don't see, like, how it... I don't see how it hurts. I don't see how it hurts. To me, this is a way better alternative than giving up the assets for Scott Laughton. Like, that's a no-brainer to me. If it comes down to Wennberg or Laughton, I'm definitely saying Wennberg in a heartbeat, because at least two, I'm 90% sure he's just a rental as well. I'm pretty sure he's a UFA after the year, which, yeah, he's a UFA. He's at $4.5 million on the year. He's a UFA at the end of the year. So I just don't see the issue where Laughton would be here for 2 years after this one, and he's just a net negative asset in terms of everything else. So I don't know, and I'm curious too. I know I'm doing this on the fly and not editing here. Sorry, unprofessional here, but I'm curious too in terms of like the miscellaneous stats, his like hits per 60, things like that, in terms of what they look like right now, because things could have changed from the last time. Which, by the way, that is something I will add, is that his metrics have gotten better since his since I last looked at his stats. That's for damn sure. And in terms of his metrics with hits per 60, that's one that I'm really curious about. He's 23rd on Seattle. I mean, that's including guys that have played like one game, but 1.98 in terms of where that would rank on the Rangers, because I'm very curious in terms of that. Like, that's the thing. It kind of backs up the whole point that he's not the greatest forechecker, and that would put him, I mean, that would put him like above, I think like right below Brodzinski. So you're pretty much getting like Johnny Brodzinski light in terms of what Wennberg is. So I don't know. Like, that's the thing. Is this a move that's going to replace Brodzinski? Because Brodzinski's been better than Wennberg, arguably. If that's the case, then no. But that's all I'm saying, is that depending, the moral of the video, I think you guys get the point, but I want to hammer it home. They're not giving up a lot of assets, and he's not replacing Brodzinski. Then I am very on board with this move, because it's just more help in the lineup. But if it's a first-round pick and Sikora and or Berard, no. But let me know your thoughts. Like I said, I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the post game.